going on, guys? It's Mike Norris. I'm here today with Brian Kehoe. How's it going, Brian?
I'm doing all right. Hey, Mike. I'm Brian. So nice to meet you all.
Yeah. So Brian works at M Drive, and I really wanted to bring him on today because he's kind of built a I don't know if I would call it luxury brand. Is that what you'd say? Premium brand?
Yeah, I think we commonly use the lifestyle brand. Definitely
Lifestyle
more
brand.
higher end. You hear it a lot nowadays, but we really do try to embody what that actually means to be a truly lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about your journey and how M Drive got to where it is today?
Sure. So kind of just quickly to maybe cue you up on a little what MDrive is, before I get too much into the story. But
Mhm.
MDrive's men's health supplement line for driven men. We've really primarily tried to place ourselves as the more premier line for guys who honestly just they don't want to let age beat them. That whole idea of that's the marketing jargon, but in reality, it's really just trying to make it into our through our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever it is, and still feel like we have the energy and drive to do what we love. I mean, I think that's kind of where the story kind of starts off. So we can head into that. So Gary Kehoe, my father, so you might similarities in last name. He started it, and it was very much an embodiment of his life. He's an extremely driven individual. It's a guy who refused to quit. As a kid, it was racing him up mountains. I never won. It didn't matter how old I was, how old he was. Like, he was determined. And again, he's not like some hyper athlete. He's not like, he's not doing tries or competing at a marathon level or anything, but he's just competitive and he wants to stay in shape. I think that was more so than anything. He never wanted to feel like he was getting old, and he always wanted to feel like he can do what he loved. And so as he was actually working for his prior company, back in the Zycam days, and they were doing some research for different stuff. He was actually in China. And so the story we tell is the tea story. You may, if you know anything about us, you may have seen it online or my brother talked about it, Michael. But essentially it was this idea that he tried some tea, he was having a meeting, and he felt great. Like, he didn't know what it was he was drinking. He didn't know what it was. He later on found out it was a cordyceps, like the real cordyceps drink.
Oh, nice.
And he loved it. Like, he's like, what is this? And that was kind of what set off his whole path of into the adaptogen world. That was one of the many adaptogens out there. And so when he came back, years later, working in the nutrition industry, and he created his own company, and he was, it was time that he built a supplement for himself. I guess that was kind of, the mentality. And he was kind of tired of seeing men's health be dragged through the mud almost. Men's health was pretty much sexual health. It was, your prostate. It was all these male kind of dominant things that we don't talk about a lot, to be honest. And guys certainly don't want to recommend to their friends that they're taking, but we all kind of need certainly support to some degree. Aging is a real thing. You can't avoid getting older. I mean, that's just a real reality of life. And so he created the supplement, and he went and decided, I'm going to pull the ingredients that I love, that I know the most about, but I'm not going to just grab ingredients and throw it all into some concoction. He was going to put his science stamp on it. He did the research. Dosage levels. He's a very moderation person, so he hates when people just throw tons of everything in there to claim they have the most of something. And he wanted clinical science. That was the other big part of it for him. Like, in that journey of creating is, I want to find ingredients that actually have real clinical backing science, because one thing in this industry is a lot of people don't trust supplements. They just don't trust them. And rightfully so. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I will be the first to tell you that this industry has really burned people on a number of occasions, which sucks because it's a great industry and there are so many benefits when looking at supplementation. And it is just that. If you're reading the magic pill that's going to fix all your life, then you are being duped. I mean, at the end of the day, it's, even M Drive is not the fix all be all for guys who want to stay driven, which is why, again, back to that lifestyle brand, over the years, he's really put a stamp on wanting to, how else can we help guys outside of just the supplementation? It is a mindset. It is physical activity and exercising, trying to stay active. It is handling your responsibilities in a smart, intelligent way so that you don't completely lose your mind, because stress will definitely take its toll and set you back. So, So I mean, that was really it. I mean, he built the supplement for himself. That was it, like, initially. And then throughout the journey, it's grown and it caught on. And we've always kind of just tried to be the anti-men's health supplement, like, not the traditional men's health. We wanted to be something guys could connect with, that you don't have to be afraid to talk about it, right? M Drive was never meant to be pigeonholed into one type of supplement. It was meant to be the all-around health. Like this is a supplement guys can take and feel good. So we're still on that mission, and we're still definitely pushing forward to try to do a better and better job connecting with people and helping them understand our story and why it matters. Because now, after watching him all these years, I have my second child now. I'm chasing him around all the time. He's definitely testing my results while I still try to get everything else done. And at the end of the day, I don't want to fall victim to that either, of getting older. Sure. and telling myself I can't do things or I have to give up on things just because I chose, to have my family get extended, just because I chose to have the responsibilities I have, or because I'm getting older. So, yeah. I'm all in on that story of I want to be just like that, man. I want to still feel like I'm doing it. My license plate on my car is I didn't pick it. This was just like a random thing, but it's a 2B51AF, and so that's now like my life goal is I want to. I was like, I don't know, the license plate makes sense.
That's awesome.
So now I want that.
That's so cool, man. So from day one, it was, the supplement for driven men. I mean, that was, what pushed you guys. You were passionate about it right from the onset.
Yeah, I mean, definitely from like the energy aspect and what we were trying to build from like a brand. Unfortunately, though, we did have to kind of take a detour to get to where we are today by really pushing ourselves as a testosterone support supplement. And we really didn't have a choice, because that was what the industry and category was demanding at the time. The drug industry was really pushing a lot of money into the what is a low T type thing. And the truth about testosterone and supplements and even just testosterone in males in general was never really being told the right way. It was being told the way that people made money, which was telling everybody you had to go get checked and you should be on it like tomorrow. That's stabilized since then. There's definitely better education on when you should actually be on it or when you should be taking it. But then the supplement industry went to capture that, right? And we knew when we originally sold the product, to your point, we were the adaptogen supplement. We were, energy, strength, drive. Like we just wanted to bring good health to people and help them stay driven. And nobody bought it. It was, at the end of the day, like that's cool, but what does that even mean? The second we threw that testosterone label on it, because we had ingredients that clinically supported testosterone support in the body, it took off. The brand took off, everything started working. And it was always this kind of like frustrating balance that you had to play, because testosterone was who we were known as at that point, and we led the category for a long time. But we never wanted that to be the end all, because testosterone is not men, right? Like we're way more than just our testosterone. Don't get me wrong, it's a dominant hormone in our bodies. It's extremely important to our bodies, but it wasn't to characterize who we had to be as our future. Like my family, my responsibilities, my accomplishments are more characteristics of me than just the testosterone flowing through my body. And we wanted the brand to exemplify that. And so that's something that we're still, to this day, shifting towards and really bringing that story back now that we finally have the traction. We can tell that story. We have that platform to tell that story. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of retailers dictated, what we had to be in order to sell on their shelves. And that's changed now. And thanks to, especially even the online world, right? That's helped a tremendous amount, because being able to control your story a little better and still be successful and tell that story has really enabled us to do a better job at that mission. So yeah, that's who we were at number one. We had to shift a little bit, but we're back. So we're happy with that.
Well, it's got to be interesting, man, because, in some cases, mentioning that testosterone and everything obviously helped you based on what you said. But then I bet in other cases, it's difficult, because you're not going to be able to advertise on Facebook and Google and say you're a testosterone supplement. Plus, you don't want to. Yeah. So just navigating those waters, I can imagine, has been a consistent challenge.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we don't have pharmaceutical clearance, right? So we're not, Google doesn't allow us to just say whatever we want. Facebook doesn't allow us to say, and none of the digital channels. And to be honest, it's hard in reputation type marketing with, we have quite a few people in terms of radio, right? Right now, we just signed on Dan Patrick. He's been a guy we've been going after for years, because we want driven individuals, right? We want people who are driven, passionate about what they do, and really worked hard to get to where they are. So guys like him, Colin Coward's another one of ours, John Gamadoro here in Arizona is one of our, the big names. But those guys at first wouldn't talk to us if we were just a testosterone support, and rightfully so, because it comes with stigmas. It comes with different aspects of, listen, I don't want to attach myself to a brand that everybody's just going to think it's only this, this, and this. And in reality, testosterone's a lot more than that. But that's just, again, the industry has dictated what they want and what they want to turn it into. So we've been the ones to try to remind people there's more than just that testosterone component. And if honestly you want to live healthy and you want to enjoy life long term and stay driven, follow our lead in the sense that we're going to make a supplement that's not only great for that, but we're also going to provide everything else that we believe you have to represent. You don't have to do it. Not everybody's going to do everything you tell them to. We always recognize that. But if they at least follow our lead and try to just hear our mission, hopefully that motivates another person to make a change in their life and honestly get into those 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s and still have the energy or at least the excitement about life to make sure they keep that flame going. So, but yeah, I mean, so it's been tough in marketing when we were testosterone only, but now it's honestly made it so much easier for us because we've really been able to take that step up and get away from it as a sole benefit to the brand.
Yeah. And you've come out with a variety of different products since the beginning too. Was the mentality behind that to start getting into maybe some different niches outside the testosterone, or was that part of the decision-making process at least?
Yeah, so the journey was a little crazy. The big change was probably when we came out with Elite, MDrive Elite in the product line. And that was because we had signed on a really notable guy. We didn't even sign him on. He's honestly a friend. We met him at, my father actually met him at, up in Utah at the outdoor show. Dude's incredible, Paul Romero, right? Guy's insane. Such a cool dude, great vibe and type guy. His son is incredibly accomplished, the youngest ever to do all the 7 summits and do Everest. And he did it at I don't even know. I'll butcher this because I might be wrong, but it was like 15 or something. This kid did it. I couldn't even fathom doing one, and this kid did them all. But so
that's insane.
But I mean, that's the type of people they are, right? They're go all out. They don't just go in half in. But even so, like anyways, we worked with him and we came out with Elite because we wanted to go after a different market, a little more high end market that is a little more athletic based, with the mindset that we were trying to transition and have something else that was not just testosterone focused. And we definitely played it down. It was the first time we really played down that messaging. And it did really well. The product took off, and not even necessarily just because it was athlete focused, but because sometimes people just want whatever's your best, right? So they looked at, well, this is the best product these guys offer. And then we kind of diversified past that, where we wanted to, again, part of that fit for the lifestyle is customized supplements is becoming a big thing, but I'll be honest, it's still really in its early stages. It's tough to offer so many different ingredients in a customized level for every single person. There's a lot of brands and companies out there trying to do that in terms of like on a per ingredient basis, but in a lot of ways, it's not as customized as people think it is, or as it's being sold to them. And not because it's their fault, it's because there's manufacturing capabilities that are still not there. So we try to at least build the most custom blended supplements for those different lifestyles, for a guy who's just getting started and has maybe never taken a supplement before. For guys who are really more concerned, like the weekend warrior types who just want more longevity, right? I'm not looking to be the hot shot, be the greatest at anything. Like, I just want to have energy. I want to get home to my family. I want to be able to support them. I want to be able to make it, out to dinner on the weekends or something, whatever it is. I guess
that's my goal.
Yeah, exactly. But then we have the next step up, right? Again, in our Elite products or start, from a nutrition angle. But again, there's different lifestyles of our different people, but yet they're all united by one thing. Again, at the end of the day, they want to stay driven. They want to have that drive. They want to kind of beat the aging process. Nobody's gonna beat it. I'm sorry. Like, we're all getting older until science finds some other completely new thing. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean you have to just sit back and just let it happen to you. There are things you can do in a preventative nature to take care of yourself. So we want to cover all those different bases. And we even have different products too. MDrive's not even the only line we represent. We have a women's health line that's very similar to MDrive, called In Harmony. And we also have like a younger line that's a little more based around the complexities of being younger in today's world and kind of the toll that may take on you trying to still find your way. And ADA is the name of the brand. But again, all of them still share that same philosophy of long-term health and really wanting to make sure that we do your homework, because it's hard to pick supplements these days. There's so many out there. It's why we go with adaptogens, because they are one of the most like universally sound ingredients, categories, because they're genuinely have good feedback, great research. They're great for stress and just overall health management. And it's something that everybody can benefit from. It's not like, hey, you only take it if you're this type of person type. They're really great overall, well-rounded ingredients, and we love them for that reason. Because we're not the mega dosers. We're not the shove all these things in your body just so you can get bigger or stronger or have more energy or power your brain or all those type of things, because a lot of it are largely untested. We want to go with something that's tried and true, and we know are going to actually provide long-term benefits. And again, that's how we do things around here. So.
Yeah, well, that makes a ton of sense, man. And I would imagine you've learned quite a bit over the course of this journey. I mean, how long have you guys been in business?
So this particular, when this one was started, I think was 2004.
Okay.
So, and I've been with the company now since probably 2011. So about 10 years now I've been with them, and I had no plans to come into this category. I was not a supplement person. I was not, I always tried to, again, I was a moderation person. That's what I learned from my family, right? I'm not a, don't touch anything, outside of this category, only eat this way. It was just moderation. Be smart about how you eat, balance the food you take in. And if you eat really crappy for a couple of days, like try to make a conscious effort to eat healthy the next. Like it's one of those, and I treat that with exercise. I treat that with just about everything in my life, the moderation angle, because I don't want to penalize myself every time and feel down about myself because I make a mistake, but just be conscious about it. And so when I came into this industry, it was a little tough, right? We're talking, our men's health line has definitely been our strongest M-Drive throughout the years. And you can imagine as a 20-year-old, coming in and trying to talk with guys about how tough life can be or how hard it can be to age was difficult because what do I know, right? I'm just a 20-something-year-old. And I remember we'd go to like some retailer shows and I'd have conversations with these guys who are far more, been around, they've done this category. They would tell us this and that. This is why you don't get what you're talking about or whatever. But I stayed true to it. I followed my father's lead, my brothers, I had a couple mentors here in this office. And I continued to just learn everything I could, be a sponge, learn every ingredient I could possibly understand, learn the science behind the ingredients, learn what other people are doing and why they're doing it. And now today, almost universally when I talk to people, I'm super appreciative of their recognition of the work I guess I put in. Like I can't say thank you enough when people do, compliment me on the fact that I try to know my stuff. If they call me out on the ingredients, I'm the guy who half the time in the office, like, a customer is really asking a lot of questions and wants to know. Don't get me wrong, we have scientists on staff too. We have a doctor on staff. But if they're not around or something, I'll jump on and like, hey, I'll take it. I'll help out with this because, again, it was the hard work. So I learned a lot from the industry and about health and wellness. And I love it. The supplement industry changed my mindset for sure on what I used to think it was. And those shows I used to go to in the beginning when you saw really what I think most people see in the supplement world when they don't fully trust it. And I've gotten a unique perspective, and I think that the category in the industry is going to start holding people a little more accountable, and they should. We want that more than anybody. So that from a regulatory standpoint, and we're right there, man. I've learned enough. My mother's here, so I have my whole family in this office working alongside many people that we trust dearly, and they're incredible researchers. I say my mom, I say my dad, but I can also say like, a chief science officer who has an engineering background. Again, they have high education and way more knowledge than I even do, and so I've been so fortunate to learn from that. So
that's amazing, man. Yeah. Do you have any advice for someone who is considering or in the process of developing a brand that they're passionate about?
Yeah, I mean, so I've watched my father since I was young do this, right? I mean, he's definitely the serial entrepreneur type. He started in Nabisco. He actually moved out here for a job, and that was for Gum Tech International, which eventually sold, I believe, to Wrigley, and then obviously Zycam with that company as well, and then did this, and all the side projects that he did. And the one thing I'll say that like I've learned, if you're truly passionate about something and you do believe in what you're doing, the cause, sit on it for a little bit and think about it. Don't just rush into the next thing you think of. Don't just, everything always sounds like a great idea the first night you have it.
Sure.
And so give it some time. But if you've already gone down the path and you're just so sold on it, just know that like you're gonna have stumbles. I mean, that's it, it doesn't matter if you're the largest company in the planet, the most profitable company in the planet. You listen to these stories of people with passion and you hit your mile markers and it just gets stressful again. You know, there's no green pastures that you're just gonna like everything's gonna run smoothly. And I think the faster you recognize that, the better you'll deal with the punches, knowing that they're gonna come. On top of the fact that I can't stress enough that one thing that energizes me in this company more than anything is talk to who you believe your customers are. And actually talk to them, you know, because that can be the reminder you need sometimes. There's times we're in this office and we're just looking at numbers, right? We're just looking at marketing plans. We're just looking at what our digital is doing and what the radio guys are saying and you know, what TV commercials we're running or whatever those things are. And like, you're just so hyper focused on that you're like, man, maybe I didn't see the bump I thought I was going to get, or maybe you did, you know, and you sometimes get wrapped up in that stuff and I'll get a customer call and I'll take it, right? I'm like, you know, I want to talk to the customer. And I walk away thinking like, guys, we're on the right path. We're doing the right thing. We're actually helping people like that. That's what I needed. And so we used to always like things like Expo West in our industry is one of the largest expos. Unfortunately, it hasn't come up because of COVID related stuff. And not even just Expo West, but any show that's like that, where you can just get out in front of the people you believe might be your customers. And you have those conversations with them. Let that be the affirmation of what you're doing. You know, let the customer tell you that, and it doesn't even have to be every single one. You're going to have doubters too. Trust me. I've had my share of people who walked up and gave me the spiel on, you know, on why something is working or why it's not and why I'm crazy. I don't know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, you get a lot of great people who will reaffirm your brand, and it is honestly energizing. So talk to your customer more than anything. And that's not just the like run surveys, you know, I mean, like legitimately reach out and have a conversation with them, and treat every person like they could be a customer of yours, but don't treat them like they are a customer, right? Like people don't want to be talked to like, hey, you're the person buying from me. Like, how can I get more money out of you? Just be sincere with them and talk. And I guess you will learn so much more about your own brand. And I think it'll only continue to fuel that passion. And again, that's something that I love and I will always continue to do. I'll never say I'm too big in my own company, you know, type thing at our company, to not talk to my customers. I love, you know, my brother's the same way. He's the president of the company and he hands out his email to anybody he can, like, you know, please, you know, email me. I'll jump on a phone call. We love hearing feedback and it honestly energizes us. So again, outside of roll with those punches, just know that your customer is going to revitalize you anytime you stumble. So talk to them.
That's great advice. And I think I'm really glad you said that because I think it's great advice for multiple reasons. I mean, the energizing and all that I think is awesome, and the affirmation that you're doing a good job. But you mentioned, you know, not polls or surveys or something like that. And I think there's a very big distinction there because you send out polls or surveys and stuff. A lot of times you have to incentivize people to do it in the first place. Otherwise, they're only going to do it if they're really happy or really mad. And you're not going to hear from all those people in the middle who maybe, you know, you get on a call with them and they're like, oh, you know, your packaging could be better if you did this, or, you know, when I tear open the bag, it shoots powder over the wall, or, you know, those kind of things. Like, you're not going to hear that kind of stuff. And it can really help you dial in the product and understand how people are thinking about it, what they're thinking. I mean, I think that's absolutely huge. And I encourage anyone who's listening to talk to their customers. You know, I don't think anyone should ever be too big to do that.
Yeah, we just recently added like a little side notation to some of the stuff we do when we ask like for survey information or for customers to give us feedback. And that was really just asking if we would be able to reach out to them for further questions. And I know we've seen that before. It's not like this is some revolutionary idea. But at the end of the day, it really does help because you're right? Customers who leave feedback, oftentimes you've heard it before, like it's the Yelp review mindset. Like you either A, really incentivize to try to get people to write or something, which you see that all the time. Or B, you get frustrated because people tend to say the bad, right? They tend to remember the bad, and we're sometimes complainers at heart. Like we just kind of want to talk to somebody about it, and so a lot of times you'll get the bad. But if you encourage customers to, or just anyone you interact with to say, hey, would you be willing for us to talk to you further? Can I reach out to you? You'd be surprised by how many people are willing to have that conversation. And even though they may have left like a scalding review or just like totally heated, and we get that like on Facebook, Instagram, you know, online. And one of our guys who's here, you know, the first thing he does is he comes to me, he's like, hey, do you want to address this one? And almost always I go to people direct. I don't want to start a fight in the
Right.
comments field. I don't want to, at the end of the day, I just say, hey, would you mind just having a real conversation with me? Because I honestly do value the opinion that you have. And I will tell you, the majority of the time you will walk out of that conversation not only learning something, but also probably having respect for that person, because maybe they didn't mean quite what they said, right? Like once you talk to the human and they recognize that, like, hey, these guys actually mean and feel what they're saying. This isn't just a bunch of marketing stuff they're throwing online or a product that tried to scam me out of my money. You actually end up walking away sometimes thinking like, hey, and they don't always go your way, don't get me wrong, but that ability to get that extra feedback from the customer and actually talk with them and hear it from their perspective personally, again, it's just invigorating for me. I love it, and it really helps drive kind of my inspiration here at the office. So.
Yeah, and I'm sure it fits into their image of the brand as well. I mean, when they're actually talking to people, I'm sure that sets you apart from, testosterone brands and things of that nature.
Yeah, we get that all the time. Nothing makes me happier. Well, that's true. There are things that make me happier. Certainly when customers love our product and are super stoked, but in the negative side, because there will be negatives again, when a customer says maybe, hey, this product's just not for me, right? Or it just didn't work for me. And you know what, that's going to happen. Not everybody's going to be happy with everything. You just can't please everyone. But when they say that maybe the product wasn't for them, but that they will 100% still recommend us for no other reason than they believe and trust in what we're doing, that's awesome. Because, maybe the product isn't right for them. Maybe they just, or maybe it's a financial, who knows? It doesn't matter what the reason is. The fact that they'll still recommend us or still support us, like, online, and you'd be amazed by how many people kind of come to your aid because for no other reason that you treat them like a real person. So.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's really nice. I had a question that I wanted to ask you based on what you were saying, and I just totally forgot what it was because I got hung up. You were just flowing, and it was so
that's
good.
My fault.
No, you're good. You're good. I know what it was. Regarding your marketing, you guys have a quiz that matches people with the correct product, and then you also then have you do quite a few email campaigns as well. I'd love if you could elaborate on that a little bit for everyone.
Yeah, that's an area where we really tried to work and improve on. Everybody's got a quiz these days, man. It's like the D2C, the thing. But I'll be honest, as much as they're great for, you see the companies who are running a quiz for clearly no other reason than just trying to, mine information off people. We legitimately set our quiz that we set it short. We set it specific to helping us decide on a product. We have the questions that we honestly believe are going to help us pick which product is right for you. And we don't really ask more fluff questions past that. We're not trying to just ask you, tell us to play 21 questions with us or whatever, like just so we can learn about you. We ask to the point, but the great part about it is it honestly, and right, user experience is everything today. A lot of people also don't want to have to sit there and research 35 different things and read every little note and try to figure, and maybe we're not always the best at laying something out, right? Like we're still trying to figure it out and run our user testing, but the quiz really makes it easier for people to then get through, answer the questions, and then right there just kind of spits out, hey, this is the product we honestly believe is right for you. Mm-hmm. And we even have but if you still don't agree with us, like there's a comparison page, like other things you can go look at to help kind of make that easier. But the quiz really helps kind of with that dictation of get me to the right product quick, send me, and then show me all the relevant information on that product and why you thought that was the right one for me, so that it kind of like reaffirms the questions I answered versus it. And then we run the email campaigns that way. So when we send out emails or when we message people, we try to target it specific to what they were trying to accomplish, right? The last thing we want to do is have you come in here and tell us that, you're really focused on this part of your life. And then we start just kind of feeding you the same garbage that everybody's sending out, right? Like that doesn't apply to me at all. Like, why do I care about this? Again, we have some topics that are all about, drive and inspirational, more motivational side that we do feel is applicable to everybody. But the actual campaign specific, both on a prospecting customer, maybe they didn't actually purchase, right? But we still want to continue to show them relevant information that we say, listen, we really believe this is the right product for you for all these reasons. Or maybe they do purchase. Well, then at that point, we still try to keep the content relevant. I think you probably know this, obviously, like that more than ever, people want relevant content, but they don't necessarily want to be told to be put in a box, right? Like that's one area of social that we've had to be really careful about is you do have a tendency. I mean, it's no surprise that like you go and look something up and it follows you everywhere, or you chat, you go check somebody's profile, and the next thing you know, they're commenting on your stuff, and you're like, wait, I haven't talked to this person forever. Well, guess what? They're seeing your stuff because you went and looked at their stuff. But it's one of those. So we don't want to have people be stuck in that groupthink, but at the same time, we do have to recognize that people want content based off of relevancy to some degree. Mm-hmm. So trying to find that balance of let's make sure that we don't pigeonhole people, but also show them relevant stuff. The quiz has really made that helpful because we learned just enough of what we need to know to make sure we get them the right product. And in terms of like longevity of our customers, being able to get them to the right product has paid dividends for us. So I will say that's probably been one of the biggest, most beneficial parts, is making sure customers get to the right product.
Yeah. And you guys run a subscription model as well. Would you say that's a core part of your revenue, or is it a lot of one-offs?
Yeah, the subscription part's funny because when we first started and we, online, and again, 10 years ago, whatever, we just started moving more subscription based in the last few years. And we're not subscription only. We give people the option, we're definitely very adamant about that. That's something my father, Gary, has been super big on. Like he doesn't want to force your customer's hand. If you don't want to be in it, don't join it. Like, sure. It's not do we incentivize people to? Yeah, 100%. Because not only, one of the biggest fall-offs that we had when we were not doing subscription was obviously repurchase. And we always kind of lived on this theory. It's like, gosh, people probably just don't like our products, right? Maybe they just don't like it. They're not buying it enough. And then we'd run the surveys and we'd run the feedback, and we would always ask, well, hey, why did you not buy a second time? Almost every single time it was, I forgot. I skipped days, whatever. There was always all these answers of, it was never the product, right? And don't get me wrong, you got some about the product, but it is very rarely was the product's fault. It was because people just have a tendency to forget. They have a tendency to find the next thing and move on, right? Like I think that's kind of like, the running joke around New Year's resolutions, right? They're great for like 1 month, and then everybody kind of moves on and forgets. And if we actually kept those resolutions, we'd probably be a lot happier. But at the end of the day, you got to be held accountable. And I think honestly, the subscription is almost a way for people to get in. They get a perk, they get incentivized for it. We do give a discount for it, as well as, we're working on some new things as well to try to help people build it into more of like a lifestyle type subscription. But at the end of the day, moving to that model has not only increased, our longevity of customers, but even the feedback that we're getting from these customers, because we know our products are not, you don't just take a supplement and like by the end of the week, everything's fixed, right? Like that's not how these work. Like anybody who tells you that is again, probably lying to you or selling you something that you don't want to take for a long time. And they are about longevity, and they do see the most benefits when used consistently. And again, just like eating healthy, right? At the end of the day, it's, you don't eat healthy for a week and everything's like suddenly fixed. All your health conditions are perfect. That's just not how it works. These are still foods. I mean, supplements are still categorized under food. And so at the end of the day, the subscription model has really helped because it helps hold customers accountable. When they get that second shipment, it's the reminder of, hey, oh crap, I can't forget. Now we make it easy to delay a shipment, change shipments, do whatever you want. You don't even have to talk to us, obviously. So that if you did accidentally skip days or whatever, you could fix your subscription to pair up with that. We never want to hold people like hostage on subscription. Sure. But then also it follows with the email campaigns, right? Again, we want to try to remember and give encouraging motivation little topics to customers to remind them that, that you're in this for the long haul. Like aging doesn't just stop at some point. So, we want to make sure that you continue to do these things, and we see it's paid dividends. The subscription model, again, I know how easy it is to get locked up there's the right way to do a subscription, and then there's the more shady, like, let me get you hooked on this subscription and never let you out kind of mentality too. And we do not want to be that. Trust me, my office or the people in this office would never live if I were trying to run a subscription that way, and I would never. So.
Yeah. Well, there's so many things I like about what you just said. I mean, you used customer feedback to then create the subscription. You made their lives easier because they don't have to think about reordering it every month. You incentivized it so they get a little bit of a discount as well. You allow them flexibility in it. I mean, seems like a perfect solution to me. Plus, they can hold themselves accountable as well. And when in a situation where if they're coming to you, they probably want to be held accountable to some extent. I mean, of course, you don't want to force it on them, but I like to be held accountable. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I mean that's definitely one of the biggest things when I have those discussions on the phone or when I talk to customers is, listen, we all have things that distract us in life, right? We got responsibilities, we got bills to pay, we have our families to take care of, we have family friends who may count on us, rely on us, who may be caregivers, or it may even be the flip side where you're the person needing the care, or you have some unfortunate life events or whatever that have happened. But at the end of the day, like you can't change everything in life, and you kind of have to, and sometimes people just need a little motivation or help, or accountability, right? Like the gym mentality, gyms they know people are going to come and go kind of freely and forget to go, and that's why people hire personal trainers and pay all the money to get one, because it's nothing other than just, I need accountability. It's not that I don't even know how to do the workout, I just need someone to remind me to go do it, to just show up at the gym, just to get there. For us, we're spoiled. We got an office right on a mountain. So you have the mountain to us is like that reminder, because we have the luxury of at lunchtime, going out for a hike or something. We have, this office it's a bit of a strange office. It was reconditioned a bunch of different ways. They were like apartments too at one point. So we have showers in here and everything. It's nice. But again, those are like reminders of the team, like, hey, get out, stay motivated. Like, don't let yesterday's frustrations or maybe something that happened at home or like completely keep you from remembering why you're doing this. We have a big sign in the office that says, what drives you, with a question mark with a bunch of signatures and writings on it from shows that we've been to, and we had people sign and kind of write their inspirations of
That's awesome.
what keeps you up in the morning. And we urge people, for accountability reasons, don't ever forget that. It may be just as something as simple as like, I just want to see my children smile tomorrow or today, like that. It could be something, sappy, and trust me, we have some that are real funny too. Sex comes up a lot. So in terms of like what shows up on the board, but it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, just don't forget that. And that accountability is so critical to not only hold yourself accountable, but if you struggle with that, don't be afraid to find somebody else who's willing to, to be your support. And we're trying to be that as much as we can, right? We've got limited resources, a limited team. We're trying, obviously we continue to grow and we continue to get bigger and try to offer more. And that is, that will always be our long-term plan, is to give back to the customer, make sure that we're helping hold them accountable while also being someone they look up to. So.
Yeah. And you touched on this too, and I want to ask, but I feel like I know the answer to this question already, but I should ask, the culture fit is probably so important when hiring people, I would assume.
Oh man, it's the top for us, passion and interest and willingness to kind of pull in I mean, we have a family business, right? It's not a family business. It's got partners outside of the family too, but we treat everybody like family, right? This is we're one of those companies, like, we believe, yeah, sure, we're bigger than a family business, but we will always treat it and want to treat it that way, because for no other reason that drive, like what we try to talk about from mDrive's perspective, or even the other brands that are all still very similar in terms of that motivational aspect. If you don't have people who are pulling for you and have that motivation, it will be really quick that people in this own office will turn and fall into the same problems that everybody falls into, right? Feeling lethargic and feeling like maybe I'm just not happy here, or I'm bored, or what are we doing this for? Like, and if you don't hire the right people to make sure you can keep that motivation up, there's no way. If you can't talk about it in your own business, how are you going to talk about it to your customers, right? How are you going to get them excited if you can't even be excited here? So getting the right people, the fit, in terms of just passionate people who want to help, we always prioritize that over resume. At the end of the day, now, don't get me wrong, I want people who have experience. I want people who understand what they're doing. We want people who are like open to learning and just want to absolutely pull. But at the end of the day, nothing beats coming in here with a good attitude, because I need it, right? There's days where I'm the guy who's stumbling or struggling. I'll be honest, I'm not perfect. Let's be the first to say that. I mean, I think you and I both might know that there's those hard days, and we can't be the only person carrying the team at times. And I'm not. Trust me, my brother, some of my closest, friends who are coworkers as well. Those are the people I rely on sometimes when it comes to like, I'm in here and we're just having a bad day, and I have to go just talk to them, right? Like, let's just have a conversation, because I know that will change my perspective and get me back up. And again, I couldn't have that if we didn't prioritize that in our hiring.
Well, thank you, Brian. This has been an absolutely wonderful interview. If anyone wants to get in touch with you or order some mDrive, where should they go?
Sure. So the website is mdriveformen.com. You can do the letter for or FOR. FORs are a more common one. So mdriveformen.com. At mdrive is pretty much like all our social handles. You can always reach out to me directly. My name's Brian Kehoe. You can email me at just bkehoe@dreambrands.com or mdrive.com, or mdriveformen.com. And but yeah, I mean, I'm always open. You can hit up Mike. Mike, you know Mike. You know my contact info, so you can reach out to me that way. It doesn't matter however you want to get a hold of us, but ask questions. I'm always happy to try to be a resource or help others, man. We want nothing else than to see other people succeed too. So
it's not very often I get a free pass to share people's contact info, so I don't know if you want to go that route, but
just know that I do have a 1-year-old currently running around my house, who is extremely demanding of my love and attention, and he will be my first priority no matter what. But outside of that, I promise if I'm, a great time, and I've actually done this with you before, Mike, if it's lunchtime or something, or even like maybe afternoon, and we schedule something, I may jump out to go for a hike and I'll have a talk. Like I love talking while I'm out, just moving, trying to stay active. I'm super afforded that. So yeah, anytime, man, just, keep it within reason. Okay. If you do, sure.
Of course.
Nah,
Well, I do want to say one last thing, just on the M-Drive topic. My father-in-law, Greg, shout out to Greg. He is the hugest M-Drive fan. He takes it every single day. He swears by it. It gives him all kinds of energy, and he's a driven dude. He works out all the time. I mean, he fits the profile. So you guys are doing some good stuff.
We had some great conversations about it, Mike, when we'd get like, who's this person that's talking so positively about us? And like, just randomly came out of nowhere, like, oh, I know him. Like, oh, Greg. All right, cool. Well, we appreciate it, man. Seriously. I know sometimes I come off in these conversations like I'm just trying to be positive about everything, but I sincerely believe in everything I'm telling you. And I hope, that everybody kind of sees that. And I do appreciate, Mike, that you still gladly rep our name too. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah. Well, it shows, man. It really shows that you're passionate about it. You can just tell by listening to you talk that, this is really something that you believe in and that you're putting your heart and soul into. And I think more brands could use that today. And that's why I had you on. So thanks very much.
Awesome. Well, thank you for this too. You were great on your end too. So I do appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.